What up, it's Dane here. In this video, I'm going to be telling you the real truth about natural bodybuilding and completely debunking this bullshit stuff that's going on in the industry. So let's get it. So if you think you can look like this, or this, or this, or this, and you can stay lean, shredded, year round, and still build muscle, you're absolutely fooled. The reality is you can't walk around year round, 8% body fat, 5% body fat, and gain significant amount of muscle. This does not happen. In fact, if you want to get really shredded, like competition level, then getting to 5% body fat is actually going to mean you're going to lose a lot of size. And then there've been a lot of people that have been training for like 10 years and they get to 5% body fat and they look like someone that hasn't even been training when they're in a t-shirt. So this is the real sad truth about natural bodybuilding that no one ever tells you about. So if you're looking at these people on social media, on Instagram, of these real good pics, shredded, lighting, all this good stuff, first you need to understand that these people are taking a few things in order to stay ripped, shredded, year round and gain loads of muscle. So they could be taking things like Anavar, Winstrol, testosterone, and human growth hormone. And of course they could be taking a lot of other stuff as well. Okay, so let's look at some examples of, in my opinion, natural bodybuilders or just natural physique athletes that are in great shape, right? Now, first of all, before you jump into any conclusions and argue with me and disagree with me, and if you do, that's fine, just recognize that a lot of these photos and pictures on YouTube, on all the social media platforms of these people with, let's say, great physiques, have always got the great lighting, the great pump, all this kind of stuff at the right angle. Remember the angles, they've all got this stuff. Now, my purpose is to show you their photos that are not that great, so taking away the great lighting, etc. Because let's face it, man, we all know that getting the angle, the right angle, the good lighting makes a massive difference. And in fact, in some ways I don't like it because it does deceive people. For example, if you look at me here with great lighting, maybe a little bit of a pump, I look kind of half decent. But if you look at me just standing, like you'd see me in real life with no great lighting, with no pump, no good angle, I look a lot different. And in fact, I probably look like I don't even go to the gym. So the purpose of the video is really just to show you what can be achieved as a natural bodybuilder, because in my eyes I've had enough of people thinking that, oh man, I can achieve this body, when in reality you can't really. And it's hard for me to say what you can and cannot achieve, because let's face it, everyone has different body types. Some people start off really skinny, it's hard for them to gain muscle, but then again it's easier for them to lose fat. Some people have a greater genetic and muscular potential, and I'll tell you in a second how to find that out. And obviously with a greater genetic potential, you can get bigger and gain more muscle. So to find your genetic potential, I recommend you click the link below on Casey Butt's formula. I really recommend this. I use this myself. In some ways, if I remember rightly, it said I'll be maybe 200, I think, to 210 pounds, about 10% body fat, and in some ways I still even disagree with this as well. But the real reality of staying shredded and being natural, and this is what most people want, and when I say shredded, I'm talking 5% body fat. And the real reality, like I said before, is that you will lose a lot of size and you won't even look like you lived. But anyway, here are some more examples of natural bodybuilders, again in my opinion, in my eyes, especially Alberto Nunez. I think this guy's been training, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know exactly, but close enough to 20 years. And this is just an insane number. And this guy, he looks insane as a natural. But again, keep in mind this is 20 years. And now some people that are like 18 years, 20 years old look bigger than this guy and more shredded than them. So obviously they've got to be on steroids. It's very common sense. Okay, so here's some rough guidelines of natural bodybuilding and how much muscle you can actually gain per year. So as we know, year one, newbie gains, we can shoot for about 22 pounds on the scale. Now remember, not all of this has got to be muscle, of course. Now the second year of training in the gym, you can shoot for about 12 pounds. And as you can see, it's halving and halving. The third year is going to be 6, the fourth year 3, and you know what I'm saying. By the fifth year of training, you're really not going to gain much size at all. Hence why, for example, when you first start out, people might say to you, oh, you're not going to get any bigger, are you? Well, the reality is, no, you're not. You're not going to gain, well, you are going to get bigger, but not at that rate. For example, at the first year I got pretty like, there's a massive transformation, but as the years go by, I'm not going to gain much size at all compared to that first year. So the reality of natural bodybuilding, instead of just putting on 22 pounds first year, second year, third year, it just decreases and decreases. Hence why you will not look like these social media icons and stuff like this. In my humble opinion, if you really want to shoot for a great physique and natural bodybuilding, probably staying about 8 to 10% body fat, maybe about 10% body fat, that will probably give you enough size. And let's face it, when you get to really low levels of body fat, your size diminishes, especially when you get to the quote-unquote shredded level, you're gonna look very small. So about 10% body fat, where you can see your abs and you'll have good size as well, and you won't feel that shit. Keep in mind that everyone there's a lot of individual differences, meaning, for example, when I'm at 10% body fat, I might feel really shit compared to if someone else is 10% body fat. So basically what I'm trying to get at in this video is that it's not really possible to stay lean year round in most cases and gain significant amount of muscle if you are you've been training for a very long time. If you're a newbie, if you're skinny fat, yes, gaining muscle, losing fat is probably slightly optimal for you, but training 5 years, being 8% body fat and still gaining a significant amount of muscle, then you're probably on the juice, or those people that you like are probably on the juice. Let me use an example, and I don't want to like tear people apart, but one great example is this guy called Lipsett, and this guy is lean he's lean year round, and he's been training, I don't know exactly, but I think 5 years and more. So he's kind of almost reached his genetic potential, so his genetic ceiling, meaning the amount of muscle he can gain is very small. And there's a lot of people on YouTube that they're at their 5-year training and very close to their genetic ceiling. So why would they even bulk anymore? Of course, bulking allows you to gain a slightly bit more muscle, but when you're at that stage, is it really worth it? And Lipsett, he's the guy, he's probably lean year round. In fact, from what I've seen the last year, he's been about 8 to 10%, and this is just, again, a rough estimate. He hasn't probably gained a lot of size, maybe as he could, but he's in fantastic shape, a very good physique naturally. So here you can see a photo of him, and again, I want to pick photos that are like a shit one and a good one, right? Just to show you again what lighting can do, pump and angle. And again, no disrespect to him, he's got a great physique. So there you can see like an average photo of just how it would look in real life with no pump, all that kind of good stuff, and then one with like all the attributes in it. So that's the reality of natural bodybuilding. Once again, man, if you want to stay lean year round, and I don't recommend this if you're just starting out as a beginner at all, I recommend you bulk. In fact, that's why, for example, me, I'm in my 3rd year of training. I've been training in the gym for 2 years, and now I'm back bulking because I haven't really reached my genetic ceiling at all. So I still have a lot of size to gain. When I reach that genetic ceiling, and if you do that too, maybe after about 5 years of training and you're close to the genetic ceiling, then maybe you ought to consider being lean almost, let's say, year round. So that's the reality of natural bodybuilding once again. So the reality of natural bodybuilding is that number one, you can achieve a great physique, but you cannot really stay ripped 5% body fat year round and gain significant amount of muscle, as you can see on social media, especially on Instagram, right? So that's the reality of natural bodybuilding. It's very, very simple. Again, if you want to shoot for and have icons, I recommend all these natural physiques. So that's it. Stay positive. Let me know if you enjoyed this video. It's a bit all over the place, but I just hope it showed you the truth. And there's a lot of like guys that they claim natural, but they're just deceiving people again and again, and I do not want that. As you can see, if you watch a lot of my videos, my why, I always try to tell people the truth. I don't have one core belief, as in I don't have intermittent fasting is the best, this is the best. I always have pure truth, telling you the truth. Does that make sense? No. Anyway, stay positive, stay smiling, and I'll see you next one.
No, there ain't no stopping us.